This is Olivia Osgood, and you are listening to the How to Quit Working Show. I'm glad that my mommy's an entrepreneur so that we get to spend lots of time together and she gets to homeschool me.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. This is Heather Osgood, and I'm just so excited and I'm thrilled to be with you today. I am your host for the Friday segment of the How to Quit Working Show, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about coaching. So if you've ever thought about hiring a coach, but maybe you just feel uncertain about the process or the cost or, all the ins and outs, I really wanted to talk to you about coaching and how it can have a massive impact on your life. Now, before we get started, I wanted to invite you to join the How to Quit Working Circle. If you're not a member of the circle, I ask that you would just go over there and check it out, take a look. You get free video trainings at the circle. You also get invited to our free webinars, as well as access to our Facebook group. And it's just really a great community. I love the Facebook group in particular. It's just full of like-minded individuals, people just like you who are thinking about quitting their jobs or maybe have recently started a business. And it's a great place to ask questions, get support, and really just get feedback on what you're doing. You can access the How to Quit Working Circle by going to howtoquitworking.com/circle and get yourself signed up and registered and get active in the community and get started working on your goals. So now, just moving into coaching, I wanted to just dive into that topic and really just share with you my experience and part of the reason why coaching is such a big passion and such a big excitement for me. I have had coaches on and off throughout my entire career, and realistically, coaching and mentoring starts and varies in great degrees. I'll never forget the very first boss that I had in my first sales job in radio ad sales, and what a massive impact this woman had in my life. I'll never forget her bringing me into her office, and mind you, I was in my early 20s, and she's like, "Okay, Heather, let's talk about your wardrobe." And she gave me all kinds of helpful hints about how I should dress and present myself professionally, and she just taught me a ton of what it meant to be a professional, to be working in the business community. She taught me a lot about communication skills and really just a lot about having pride in myself as an individual and really presenting myself in a professional way. And I didn't pay her a dime. They paid me, and I got so much out of that. I still count her as one of my good friends, and I'm still in communication with her. And without her, I would be a different person today. And so it's just awesome to really think back on the people who've been influential in your lives, the people who really have made an impact on who you are, and she's one of them. Now, as my journey progressed, I got to a point where I realized that I really wanted to expand. I wanted to become more than what I was. And what I find is that each person knows what they know, and they perform at the level that they perform at based on the information that they have. So you really never have the capacity of growing beyond who you are in this present moment without the introduction of new material. Now, that information can be learned in books. Obviously, there's great podcasts out there. You can listen to audiobooks. You can do YouTube. There's a gazillion trainings. You can attend conferences. You can do all kinds of different activities to really gain knowledge and really just to expand who you are as a person. The difference between getting that information and having someone someone you know and that you're working with is that they understand you personally. And each and every one of us has our own unique situations in life. We all have this path that we're walking, and we all have all of our strengths and all of our weaknesses. And a coach and a mentor is someone who's able to really identify who you are with all of your strengths and weaknesses and really help give you that guidance in that direction, those little cues that really allow you to become all that you need to be. Now, when we're looking at kind of just getting into the facts of what coaching is, I found some great articles online that really provide us with some terrific information. And I read this great Harvard Business Report article, and it stated that 45% of coaching relationships last between 7 and 12 months. So if you've ever thought, gosh, if I hired a coach, how long would I be doing it for? You might really think about that 7 to 12 month mark. Obviously, if you meet with a coach a few times, it's going to have an impact, hopefully, if they're a good coach, but it's not going to have really the depth of impact that you might like. Now, a lot of our coaching clients with the How to Quit Working program are on a 4 to 6 month track, and that really is a good place to get started, depending on, where you're at in your life. And if you've never done coaching, that can be a really great introduction for it. But if you're really looking at that long-term change and the long-term kind of adjustment and knowledge gaining process, you want to really think about making an annual commitment, making a year-long commitment to coaching. And I just would really encourage you when you're thinking about going into a coaching engagement to think about the length of time, because that's going to have a really, really big impact on it. The next is cost. And I think in my conversations with everyone out there, that is their biggest concern and their biggest question is, how much does it cost? And, coaching has such massive ranges. I have to say, I decided that I wanted to hire a coach recently, and I just did. As you may have heard, I hired a Tony Robbins coach, and I've been coaching with her now for a little over a month, and she's been doing a phenomenal job, and I'm super excited to be working with her. But before that, I was kind of doing some investigative work, and I thought, gosh, what could I do, and what could I get? And I went on someone's website, and they said that it would be $50,000 to coach with them, and it was like $50,000, I want to say, for like an afternoon. And to me, it's just like, I don't know, like who you are in life, that you are so valuable that I can pay you $50,000 for just spending an afternoon with you, and that's going to really propel me to a greater level. Now, of course, there are select individuals out there that maybe if you had that money you would spend, but that's kind of worst case scenario. And truthfully, I kind of thought of this person as just being an average everyday podcaster, certainly well known and really well respected within the self-improvement community. But I really felt like that price was just so overinflated and just so unachievable by 99% of the population that, it really was just kind of silly. I just thought it was a total joke. But coaching does range in cost a lot. Now, this article that I read, I thought it was interesting, said that it was it could cost as much as $3,500 an hour, which is a huge investment. But it said that the average or the median hourly cost of coaching ranged from $500 to $750 an hour. Now, just to set your mind at ease, on the How to Quit Working program, our fees are much less than that. And the fees do range, depending on your length of commitment and what it is that you're trying to do. So, it's not necessarily something I could tell you right here, right now, what the cost is, but it is much less than $500 an hour. And, we really believe that it's a good investment. We really believe that it isn't something that's overpriced, and it is achievable for most everyone to really come in and get coaching. So if you're thinking, gosh, like how long of a commitment is it going to be? I would say, look, somewhere between 4 and 6 months to get started, or possibly a year. And if you're looking at the cost, know that it costs far less than $500 an hour. So hope that puts your mind at ease a bit. Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting, in a Huffington Post article, they stated that 86% of companies who invested in business coaching earned back their investment, and most earned far more than their investment. So I think that that's really, really important for you to consider. The other thing is that 96% of those companies said that they would hire a coach again. And most of them found that by working with a business coach, they were able to increase their productivity. So those are just some kind of hard facts for you to think about and look at, and, just really examine what it could have the capacity to bring you. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was really, what is coaching going to bring to you? And the first and most important thing for you to know about coaching isn't consulting. A consultant is someone who's going to come into your business. Obviously, if you're an individual and you haven't started a company yet, you would never hire a consultant. But generally, we think of consultants as being these kind of high-priced executives who come into a business and really give hard advice. They tell you exactly what to do, when to do, how to do it. And really, a lot of times they kind of have a bad name because, they come into businesses and they try to make these massive changes and say that they know what's best and they're really going to kind of fix the situation or fix the company. Coaches are totally different. Coaches aren't therapists. They're not someone who's going to really have the capacity to handle maybe any deep traumas or, just emotional issues that you have. They're, certainly not trained to handle those and don't want to handle those issues in most cases. Really, what a coach is going to do is they're going to inspire you to be all that you can be. They're going to ask very well-crafted questions to get you to examine who you are. And a really good coach has the capacity of allowing you to come up with the answers. If I tell you the answer to your problem, that's fine and that's great. But if you develop the answer to your problem and you really are able to identify what your true motivation is in life, that is going to say so much more. And I like to think about the mistakes we make in life. Now, raising my children, I have found, and I know that this was true for myself as well as a child and a young adult, that if I say, "Don't touch that, it's hot," kids will look at you and they'll say, "Why not? I'm going to see if it's hot. Is it hot?" And they touch it and then they cry and they say, "That was hot. It burned me." They needed to touch that stove or barbecue or whatever it was to experience the sensation that heat hurts, that hot things burn you. And oftentimes we try to keep children from these learning experiences, and really mistakes are just learning experiences. Now, of course, do I want my children to get burned? No. And if I can keep them away from something hot, I'm going to do that. But like my son right now, my 3-year-old's trying to ride a bike, and we can tell him and we can help him and protect him as he's, pedaling down the street. But realistically, he's only going to learn how to ride his bike by actually doing it. And the same holds true for adults. We learn from our mistakes. And when you come to a realization, that realization is going to be so much stronger and have such a lasting, deep impact on you that someone telling you what to do or how to do is never going to have that same impact. So a good coach really should have the capacity of having you arrive at what the correct answers are for you. Now, obviously, if you come up with something totally off the wall, they should be able to steer you in and further question you to get you to the realization point that maybe your first instinct wasn't spot on. And they are going to give you that guidance and direction, but really they should help you to come up with what your true answers are for yourself by helping you identify your goals and your purpose and really getting clear on your vision for your life. And as we're talking about businesses, obviously the vision for your business, what are you hoping will happen? So really, a coach helps keep you on track. There's somebody that is there with you on a consistent basis, whether that's weekly, whether that's every other week, whether that's every third week. There's somebody that's there that has that ability to really say, "Whoa, what are you doing? Why are you headed off here in left field? Like, let's really keep this end goal in mind and let's figure out how to get there." So keeping you on track is really one of their main jobs and very important. The next thing is that they really offer you this avenue for sound advice. They are someone that is not vested in your success necessarily, and they have that capacity to just really provide sound advice for you. If you're starting a business, it is just so important and so crucial to talk to people who actually know what they're talking about. When you start a business, what happens is, number one, everybody has something to say about it. So whether it's good, bad, or ugly, they want to tell you what their opinion is and how you should do it. From, what are you doing? You're totally crazy. Why are you starting a business? 80% of all businesses fail. Don't you know you're insane? From, well, let me tell you, if you're going to open a business, you need to make sure that you've got a really big sign, because the sign's the most important part of the business. Or let me tell you, you need to have a website, and that website has to have some flash animation on it, because if you don't have flash animation, no one's going to come to your site, or whatever they want to say. People have lots and lots of advice. And frequently, unless they're someone who has owned a business, they really don't know what they're talking about. So you have to be really, really careful who you take advice from, because I found a lot of times in life when I try to take advice from someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about, often it just comes back to bite me. So really, really think about when you're taking advice, who you're taking that advice from, and a coach should be able to provide you with really, really sound advice. So think about that. The other huge element of coaching, like I mentioned before, is that a coach should be able to help you attain your goals. Now, if you are a person out there who doesn't have goals, which is very common, they should be able to help you actually identify your goals. Ask the probing questions, get down to the place where you really know, these are my goals for the year. These are my goals for the year. These are my goals for the week. These are my goals for the month. These are my goals for 10 years, so that you've got that really good plan in place. Because we know that when you have goals, research proves over and over and over again that you are much more likely to actually achieve those goals and really get what it is that you want in life. So really helping you identify the goals, helping you identify your lifestyle blueprint, helping you identify your purpose, those are things that a coach is going to do for you, and then they're going to help push you in every way to get you to actually attain those goals. So that for me is a huge job. As a coach, I want to make sure that you are actually going out there day in and day out and really, really achieving what it is that I know you have the capability of achieving. The next thing I think is really important to think about with a coach is that they keep you inspired. They keep you really pumped up and ready to go out there and conquer the world. When you are working a full-time job, trying to have a family and raise a family, trying to start a business, trying to keep your marriage sanity together, it is a lot of work. It's a ton of people who are constantly wanting and needing from you. And it is so easy to take this business and say, you know what? It is at the bottom of my list. The other thing that's so challenging about running a business is that there are so many awesome ideas out there. I have watched 3 webinars this week about how I can maximize my life and just make everything in my business better. You come up with all these ideas and then you think, gosh, how am I going to apply this? How am I actually going to take all of these concepts and make them work? How am I going to put them into practice? Because that's a ton of time and energy that really does take just a ton out of you. So you need that constant inspiration. I know that every time my coaching appointment comes, number one, I'm excited because I just like talking to my coach. And number two, afterwards, I always come up with a list of things that I'm like, you know what? These are my go-to action items. I'm going to do these, and I know that they're going to have a really big impact on what I'm doing and the results that I'm getting. And I feel inspired and I feel excited. We also always talk about our celebrations. What is it that's happening in my life that I'm super excited about and I'm super pumped about? And that really makes me see that there is a lot of really great things happening and going on. So a coach should really be able to help you with that. And that's really important. That inspiration is not always easy to find. Next, and what I think is a huge point, is that they don't have a vested interest in your success. I mean, of course they want to see you succeed, but realistically, if you do or don't succeed, it's no skin off their nose. And, we want as coaches to have many, many happy, successful clients, but we know that not 100%, I know that not 100% of all the people I'm coaching are going to go out and do exactly what I tell them and get to the level of success that I know that they can achieve. Things are going to happen in their life. They're going to come up with roadblocks. They're going to get derailed. But realistically, at the end of the day, the success that person has is really up to them. And I don't personally benefit from you starting a business or becoming profitable in your business or doing any number of things. I benefit only by the fact that you're actually my client. And so beyond that, I feel like I am able to give you all the advice that you might need or want and really, really be honest with you. And the next point that I really want you to consider is that a good coach can kind of make you angry or mad sometimes because they're going to point things out to you that maybe you're not comfortable with. We all like to think that, in general, we're doing things just about right. Or sometimes we come up with these ideas or these concepts that we really, really think are great ideas. And realistically, they're not. I'll never forget. It wasn't that long ago. I was talking to this gal and she had a great business concept. It was, as she's talking, I'm thinking, man, she knows what she's doing and I can see this being super successful. I can see, how she's really going to make a lot of money. And I was just really excited and really pumped for her. And then she got to the name of her company that also happened to be, something that would be out there a lot. And it was just horrible. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what is this woman thinking? Like, this name has single-handedly the power to make or break what she is doing because it is so bad. And as a coach, you have to be able to say, that is a horrible name. You really need to rethink that. And, as the coachee, you need to be someone who isn't going to get offended by people calling you out on mistakes that you're making or, issues that you're having. Because if you don't have a coach that is willing to really point these things out to you, then what's the purpose of having a coach? Because I know I'm not perfect. I know that I make mistakes in my life. I know I make mistakes in my business. And if my coach isn't willing to come alongside me and say, hey, Heather, what are you doing? Like, what makes you think this is a good idea? I don't really think I want that kind of coach. So you have to have that person who's not vested in your success. Having that neutral and heavy accountability in your life is huge. It's a huge motivator that really, really helps get you to where you need to be. Accountability in and of itself is so, so important. I know that my husband owns a couple of different businesses and he and I kind of can go at it sometimes because I say, look, you should be doing blah, 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 blah. And that's what every husband just loves to hear is their wife telling them what to do, regardless of whether it's for their business or not. And it's very challenging for me because it's easy for me to see where I feel like he's making mistakes or where he could do things or change his behaviors to get to a higher level of success or productivity or profitability within his organization. And so I like to kind of push him sometimes, but really I'm his wife. And that's the role that I want. I want to be his wife. I don't want to be his business coach. And so I have to constantly remind him of that. I'm not a good accountability partner for my spouse, and your spouse is not a good accountability partner for you either. And I've found that a lot of times people do put their spouses in that role, and it has a really detrimental effect on the relationship. But when you hire a coach, they are that neutral, heavy presence in your life that can tell you, what have you been doing? This shouldn't take you a month to get this taken care of. This task should have been finished. And one of my very favorite experiences was when I was in one of my coaching sessions. It was a business partner and I were in this session together, and our coach said, well, have you finished this? And my partner said, no. And he goes, well, let me ask you, if you were to sit down and do that right now, how long do you think it would take? And I remember her going, probably 30 minutes. And he's like, and so why have you waited a month to do it? And part of it is really just being able to hold your feet to the flame, being able to really show you that this is important and you need to get this done. You need to get this done pronto, right now. This is important. And or I have it happen to me frequently where people will say, I really need to do X, Y, and Z. I've got to get this taken care of tomorrow. And I'm like, whoa, hold off. Like, that is not a priority right now. Like, let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at what you're doing and really have that vision in mind. And really just be able to give them the capacity to see that, the things that they're doing aren't necessarily the most important tasks, that these other tasks are more important to really, getting to their success. So I want you to think about that. And really, one of the things that is the take-home message from coaching is that, can you start a business without a coach? Absolutely, you can start a business without a coach. Can you get to high levels of success without a coach? Of course you can. Can you read? Can you go to conferences? Can you listen to podcasts? Can you get tons and tons of wonderful, life-changing information out there without a coach? You can. But if you are really interested in accelerating your progress and really getting to where you want to be quicker, hiring a coach is going to make the difference. And that's just one of the important steps and important factors about having a coach, is that there's someone who's going to be able to take you to where you want to be in a much quicker process, because they know what you're doing and they're going to be able to direct you right from wrong. So, I really, really, think that if you haven't ever considered hiring a coach, I just want you to be open to the idea that a coach could really, really help you. And the other big, big factor is that a coach in a business is an investment. If you're hiring a life coach, I love life coaches. I think they're awesome. I've had life coaches myself. They're great, but it is different because you aren't, in your life, you don't have the capacity to get that investment back necessarily. Whereas in a business coach, that investment should be returned to you. As that article said, 86% of people said that their coaching was covered and they were able to even increase their sales. So realistically, your investment should be covered by the business, and it's an investment. And that's something that's super, super important for you to look at. It's not just money that you're spending and you're not going to get it back. It's really important for you to think, gosh, if I make this investment, how many customers do I need to get to cover the investment? And when it comes to coaching, most of the time, you don't have to make all that many sales to really cover that investment. And if you're thinking about starting a business, a coach is just invaluable because they're going to be able to really lay the foundation for you to get to the place of success. So I want you to really think about that. My experience with coaches has been varied and really just had a massive impact on my life. When the big recession hit in 2008, it was October of 2008, and we had, in my trade show production company, we had several big fall events. And it was the first time since the company had been opened that everything just really fell flat. And I'll never forget, it was almost like the experience of like standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, like you kind of like if you could imagine, like you're hiking up this hill and like everything's going good and you kind of see this pinnacle of success ahead of you and you're like, hey, we're headed to the top, and this trail really isn't all that bad, and like we're making good strides. And then you get to the top and you're not actually at the top of the mountain, you're like at the top of the Grand Canyon, and you look down and you realize that there's this massive pit in front of you. I'll never forget that when that recession hit, like just feeling literally like the ground had just been taken out from under us. It was like somebody flipped a switch and just turned our business off. And it was really, really hard. It was like, this huge wake-up call, because here we had this really successful business going, and then all of a sudden it wasn't successful anymore. And I said to my partner at the time, I said, look, we have got to do something about this. We need somebody to help us. We need somebody who has more expertise than we have. And we hired a business coach, and it was not an expensive venture. It was not $500 an hour. It was a lot more than that. And it was worth every penny that I spent. We were there and we worked with him. We had many hours spent in his office. We had many hours poured over goals and spreadsheets and tactics. And really, he gave us the tools that we needed to get through this chasm, like to get from this, one side of the Grand Canyon to the next. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that we would not have stayed in business if we had not hired that coach. I really believe it wholeheartedly. He did massive things for our organization. And I really look back at it now, as much as I would never want to go through another massive financial downturn like we did at that time, especially with our whole economy. I look back at it and I think about how wonderful a learning experience it was. How many skills and tactics and really just perseverance I learned from going through that. It was huge. It was a very, very monumental growth spurt for me, personally, professionally, certainly as an entrepreneur. And it was just super, super valuable. And really, that experience helped propel me to where I'm at today and really helped me know that I wanted to be a coach because I had gained so much from him. And now my purpose and passion is really just to help all of you, if you're listening to this, to help you really create a business that is going to be profitable and successful and satisfying. And really at the end of the day, a lot of hard work, but worth every hour that you spend. And I just, I've been talking to so many people, and I wanted to do this show today for you because I wanted to share with you how important coaching really is and what you could expect from it. It's, it's kind of one of those things, I think, in our society, especially now in the business and entrepreneurial community, coaching, just that word just gets thrown around. And the thing that's so difficult about it is that there's such varying degrees. And, I always really like to use the analogy of apples and oranges, which is, obviously something you've heard before, but it's just simple for you to really think about. And coaching is not like, it's not like you just go into an apple orchard and pick an apple off of the tree. Coaching programs are just not all created the same. They're not created equally. There are varying degrees. There are people who really shouldn't be coaches out there selling coaching. And then there are people who just have the price so inflated that it's, it becomes almost unattainable for people to hire them. And then you have, in my opinion, this really large group of very qualified, very inspirational, very dedicated coaches who are just really willing to help you get all that you can get out of life. And I'm just so dedicated to the cause of coaching because I know that at the end of the day, I've had a big impact in somebody's life. I've helped move them forward and moved them in a positive direction. And oftentimes in this journey down this entrepreneurial path, we feel really isolated. We feel really alone. We feel like, we have no idea what to do next, or if what we did last was the right thing, or if we're headed in the right direction. And, maybe we look at our Facebook page and say, how many likes did I get? Oh, good, I got a few more likes today. That must mean I'm getting closer to success. Or how many followers do I have in Twitter? Is that like my indicator for success in business? And all of this information and all of these different tactics for success are just, they kind of bog you down a little bit. And you have a tendency to feel alone or feel isolated or feel unsure about what you're doing. And what's so hard about all of it is it's so intertwined with money. And anytime you're looking at money and the influence of money, you're going to have just a ton of emotional baggage that you kind of bring with you, that you have this expectation that you want to create a certain level of wealth, or you have this expectation that you want to make this money. Or maybe you're in a position right now where you're like, why am I making this much money? I'm making nothing. I'm not making my ends meet. I'm working at a job that's not paying me what it should be paying me. And really, you have the capacity as an individual to create more and to be more. And the thing that's just so awesome about owning your own business is that there's no ceiling. When you have a job, when you have a salary of $30, $40, $50, $60,000 a year, whatever that number is, that's what you get to make in that job. And if you want to make more, you have to work harder, you have to work longer, you have to promote to a different position, you have to search and look and see if you can get another job at another company making more. And as an entrepreneur, if you want to make more money, you just need to get more clients. You just need to get more sales. And what's so great about it is just knowing that really there's this infinite pool of income and in this infinite pool of money that's right out there. And all you have to do is really create a product, a service, something that really people value and want in order for you to get that money. And and so consequently, there's just all this emotion that goes along with quitting your job, with becoming an entrepreneur, with starting a business, with knowing that when you start a business that it could fail, and what does that mean to fail? And a coach is just like, they're just your partner. They're somebody that is going to come alongside and really just help guide you and direct you. And I can't tell you how many times I called my coach going, oh my gosh, I'm having this issue. What do I do? How do I handle it? Or like I would send him an email and say, this happened with this employee, or that happened with this customer. Our sales aren't where they need to be, or, some panic. And he was just always so easy or so good at being able to say, take a deep breath. All right, let's talk through this. Let's come up with a solution. Let's come up with a strategy. And then all of a sudden, it was like this weight had just been lifted off my shoulders. And I could say, oh my gosh, okay, I can handle this. I can take these steps. And I always knew that at the end of the day, I could shoot him an email and say, okay, this is what I did. I did X, Y, and Z. I did what you told me to do. And it worked out like this. Or maybe I came up with this different roadblock. And so it was always just this constant tweaking of our behaviors and a constant tweaking of our communication and our professionalism and our systems and strategies. And they all went together and really just created this dynamic company that, I'm still very proud of, even though I don't own. And, it really did result from me having a great advisor, from me having the expertise of someone who had many, many more years working in building businesses than I had. And the other thing that I think is so cool about coaches is that they are working with lots and lots of people that are just like you. So not only do they have all of the expertise and experience from their own business building, they have the expertise and opinions and information of all of the clients that they're coaching as well. I learned so much from my clients, and it's awesome to be able to learn from their experiences, and then down the road to be able to use some of those lessons learned or the tools that were applied and reapply them in a different situation for just a positive win-win for everybody all around. So if you're thinking about coaching, what I'd like you to do right now is go to howtoquitworking.com /coaching. So howtoquitworking.com/coaching. And on that page, there is just a little information sheet, just a quick questionnaire that will give us a chance to really see who you are, what you're doing, which area we can help you best in, and just put in all your contact information in there, put in your phone number and your email address, and I promise that I will reach out to you just as quickly as I possibly can. And if you are listening to this right now, I would like to offer you a free 30-minute strategy session with me. I would love to talk to you, and in that session, we would discuss your goals for the upcoming year and really how I can help you to accomplish those. So if you think that you might like to just try coaching, if you think that you're in that place where you're really wanting to build the business and you're having a hard time with it, or maybe you're a business owner and you're saying, gosh, I could really use some new strategies. This is a lot different than I thought it would be, or I really don't have the life that I always wished I had. Give me a call, shoot me an email, fill out that form on the website, and let's get in touch and let's spend some time really talking about you and how I could help you grow your business. I know that you have the capacity to create something great. We each do. And I want to really encourage you to think about hiring a coach to take you and your business to the next level. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you very soon.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.